Guys, and welcome to another video. I'm going to apologize in advance for not sounding great because I am currently recovering from COVID, but we're going to go ahead and do a ring enchant. People have asked me about what I use for rings in the past, and I haven't crafted one in a while or enchanted one in a while, but now we're going to do it because I'm doing some stuff. So here we go. Ring thing. This stuff. So rings can go a lot of different ways. And the reason I'm going to be using the ring that I'm currently using is because I've been having trouble getting my crit where I want. And in a perfect world, I would be using a maximized chance ring instead of this because it's just, I think, arguably better. But I got this one from the Abyss Gate. It's got the jewels that we want. We would have also taken a white jewel, which would make us getting to 1600 jewel score easier, but the red jewel is probably going to get more out of it for us. I haven't really done the testing between an attack enhance red jewel and a earth energy white jewel. It's probably good either way, but this is what we have to work with, so this is what we're using. We're going to be not too complicated on this. Obviously, this is something we could take a lot deeper, but we're going to start with this and just take what I'm using. A lot of the time when it comes to ring, I end up taking attack speed, but in this current build, I am so far over attack speed cap, I don't need it. So we're going to be taking the only natural prefix that we're looking for is either physical damage or projectile damage. It's not going to make a difference to the build which one we get. So having two of them makes our life a little bit easier. After that, we're going to be doing authority modifiers. The authorities we are going to want, you can use quite a few different ones. Okay, so what we're looking for is one of the damage amp ones. You can get damage amp when strength and dex are 300 or more. You can get damage amp when strength is not. Don't do 500 or more because it has a cap of 10. It can only go to 4%. But there's quite a few of the damage amp if blank equals blank, strength and int are 300 or more. It really doesn't matter to us which one of these we use because they're all going to go to the same cap as far as I know. They all go to the 6%. I'm pretty confident. I will double check after the thing. So physical percent, damage amp, and then we're going to be doing totem duration so that we can craft it into skill rune effect. Our suffixes, we've got two natural ones. So attack critical rate, although, as always, critical rate is fine. The difference between a max level critical rate, okay, is 70%, and attack critical rate max level goes to 77%. So even at absolute max perfect rolled, it's only 7% crit rate more. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, you should try to get the attack critical rate so you get a little bit more, but it doesn't make a difference if you hit just the critical rate. Then we're going to be taking critical damage and a modifier from here to give us, I don't know which one it is off the top of my head here. Give me a second. A chance to inflict pain on an enemy for 4 seconds on hit. Now, we already inflict quite a bit of pain. I think we have 3 different ways to get pain on an enemy, but getting pain makes them take more damage, and there's not other particularly great modifier choices for suffixes. You can get things like versatility and whatnot and all those, but I think in the end, the pain one is probably going to be our best bet. The other things we are going to be doing, very likely anyway, is crafting the critical damage into physical damage amplification because it goes at max up to 7%. So that'd give this ring 13% damage amp on top of the other stuff, which is pretty solid. Star Jewel, Black Jewel, Red Jewel, we'll worry about that later. The legendaries are going to be pretty much exactly the same as what you would think. The physical damage percent prefix, if we got hit point, we would take it. It's a good amount of flat hit points, but ideally we'd want the physical. And suffixes, attack critical rate, obviously. Attack critical rate is probably best, but if we hit stat plus, we would also take that because its stats are just generally really good. I don't know about ancients yet. I'm not really that far into it. and I don't know what I'm going to put in authority modifiers and stuff. We'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah, so let's get into the process, starting with the prefixes, since we will need to use Serpent's essences. So now that we've got what we want, that we know what we want on it, we have to figure out how we can get the things we want. So the first thing, because we know we're going to have 2 authority prefixes, I always try to look for a way to either 50-50 or 1/3 chance the second modifier to make our life easier, and so we don't have to use as many Serpent's essence. Sometimes there is no way to do it, and you just have to brute force it. In this case, if we look at the suffixes here, you can see that the hit point regen per second can go to tier 8, and that's what we need when we're doing a 50-50. So this is fine. We don't have to worry about anything. Next thing we need to worry about on the prefixes is what we're going to start with. In this case, it is not even a question which one we are going to start with, because the one option, getting the totem, is very high, 7.1%. And the other one is the Hamal, which is 0.1%. So getting that and the flat physical together is the biggest issue with the prefixes. Getting the other one is going to be very easy. It's a 50-50 chance. So we're going to be starting with Hamal. Now, I already talked, I don't know, I'm a little out of it, I'm really drugged up, about which of these you should take. Now, it doesn't matter, okay, when it comes right down to it, which one of these damage amps you take, as long as it's one of the ones that has 2 or 3 of the options. So if we look at the max value, this goes up to 6 at tier 14. If we go look at the other ones that are solo, get 1 to 500, it only goes to tier 10, gives you 4. So you're losing out on 2 damage. You can go down the list and check them all yourself, but I'm just going to take them all. It doesn't really matter which one you take as long as you can hit these values, and my stats are all really high, so I don't need it. So there's Hamal. And then, as always, if we have a really low value or really low chance on a high value target, it's best to use Alyssa's so that we can guarantee we're going to hit that thing. So we're going to use this. It's going to give us this, and then we're going to hope to hit physical or projectile, because that's the only other thing we need. So we're going to do that until we hit it. And of course, we're hitting all the other damages, but not the ones we want. And as always, I like to explain, if you see one of these hit, any of the damages blocks the ones we want. So if you hit element damage, you can't get element damage and physical damage. So if you're trying to get physical, or in this case projectile, if you see one of the other ones, you can just re-roll. So finally we got our physical. Not finally, it was really fast. So the next step is to change the authority. So this is going to cost us a reversion, and then we're going to get our suffix that we want so that we can do the other part. I'm going to just stop mumbling. Part 2. The eagle-eyed among you will see that this is different. I am not firing on all cylinders here because I am sick. So what I ended up doing was trying to do a thing if you were trying to get 4 prefixes. In this case, we are not trying to get 4 prefixes. So you don't need to do anything fancy here. All you're going to be doing is changing the authority. Okay, legendary. Change the authority to Spica, which is the one we want. Version. And then we are going to use Serpent's Essence on the hit points to remove it. Okay. Then remove a suffix. And hit a coin. And always make sure that thing you were trying to get shows up in the values. So it is right there, 8% chance. If you don't hit it, you keep going. This part's generally pretty easy. When you're talking about a value that's fairly high, you should get it fairly quickly and get 8% chance. And that 8% is actually across the duration, the whole of the options, the prefixes and suffixes, so it's more like 16%. So again, cast speed, we don't need. Remove coin. Cast speed back, it's fine. Chance. Move. Nope. We'll get it. I 100% should not be trying to make a crafting enchanting video when I'm all whacked out of my mind on cold meds. It's all good. We'll get it. Get it. It'll be that much better. I'll be like, look, I can do this stuff when I'm sick. I can do this stuff in my sleep. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our 3 prefixes, our damage amp, projectile damage, and our totem duration. Now we have to go to the suffixes. Again, we are going to have to change the authority to the correct authority, which I got to make sure I'm doing the right one. It is Seftar. Vesper. So Vesper is for pain. So we're going to change to Vesper. Same deal. Legendary. Change the authority to Vesper. For those that are wondering why we have to legendary, because if we change the authority otherwise, it would just completely wipe the thing and we'd have to start from scratch. And there is another way you can do this where you do transfers, but transfers are terrible. It's a bad system. This is so much easier, and you can just do what you need to do. So change to Vesper and reversion. Okay, now we're on to the suffixes, and all we're trying to do is roll the suffixes until we get attack critical rate or critical rate, critical damage, and inflict pain. Now, you'll always like to check to see what the values on them are, how hard they are to get. So getting critical damage is very easy compared to the others. So if we don't see critical rate and pain, I should say, it's not worth continuing because these are going to be much harder to get, and as the modifiers fill up, it's going to be even harder. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to split this so I can cough and then do the thing. So, we're going to be using suffix birth options, suffix removal options, and rare imbues. As always, when I'm doing something like this, I like to put the qualities above this in case I make a mistake and I accidentally click on them so that it doesn't screw anything else up. So things we are looking for primarily: attack, crit, or pain effect. That's the first priority, is seeing one of those. Generally, if in the first 2 we don't see one of the values we want, there's no reason to continue. Because they are, again, harder to get with each successful one. Spell critical rate, that's immediately a reset because that's going to block our critical rate or our attack critical rate. They are mutually exclusive. There's critical rate. We will keep going. Luck here. Okay, so with that gone, right back to now this part could, because the attack critical and pain are all fairly low chance. This could take quite a bit, especially if you're new to enchanting. Spell immediately blocks the important thing. There's sharpness. That's great. Or sharp. Jeez, sharpness is not right. Sharpness is not a bad thing to get. And hold on. Now I got to think about this. I just realized if I hit sharpness again, I got to check the crafting. Because sharpness might be a better choice than pain, provided it crafts into something better. So we'll have to take a look. Should have taken a look beforehand, but again, I am not in my right mind right now. Don't know why I just did that. Okay, so there's sharpness again. Sharpness and critical. Now, the reason sharpness isn't bad, obviously, is because it's going to give us critical damage and critical rate. But more importantly, it could craft into something very good. Could. Does not look like it does. Sometimes they craft into... There's three different things when you craft. There's three different symbols. There's a plus, a little circle thing, and a down, okay? Plus means it just straight adds whatever that is. It's going to give you extra. This completely replaces the thing, and this cuts the thing in half to give you more of this. So sometimes you'll see ones that turn into like damage amplification or something, which is what we're going to do with the critical damage, but it's going to completely replace that. If we were going to take sharpness effect, we would want the sharpness effect to craft, to give us something extra, not get rid of it. And really, when it comes right down to it, now that I'm sitting here looking at it, if I got sharpness effect, pain effect, and critical damage, I would probably just take this. You get less overall critical, because even this at 100% would only give you 50% critical rate, but it would give you critical rate and critical damage. So I think that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we hit that. I don't know if the two are mutually exclusive, because again, I'm doing this on the fly. I don't think they are mutually exclusive, but let's check. Yep, they are mutually exclusive, so you can't have those two together. So that solves that problem. We're going to be going for pain. We're going to be going for pain, which is what this is going to be to get. Piece of something stuck in my teeth. It's driving me nuts right now. Spell critical, spell critical, spell critical, spell critical, spell critical. I gotta always practice on your gear. That's what I do, man. Again, I've got a considerable amount of time in this game, so. I can't believe how many times we hit spell critical. Ridiculous. So, knowing things like what mutually exclusive is very important to high-end crafting and stuff. And it's not something I necessarily talk about a lot in my videos, but it is something that is very important. So what I did there, making sure that one of the other modifiers can't take the place of the thing that I want. So I know now that this automatically takes a place of pain effect. I can't roll pain effect if this shows up. So that's another one that I can immediately re-roll if I see something that isn't pain effect. Which we now have. And immediately gone, of course, because go to hell, Mike. So getting those two together will be complicated. Of course, we spell critical. What? But getting all three together is obviously good. This game screws with me, I swear. So spell critical and attack critical all have the same chance to hit. And I have hit spell critical rate so many times, and I have not seen attack critical rate once. Because this game hates me. Oh. Okay, 2 out of 3. Oh, there was that hard to get one. Never mind. Of course. Is gear crit rate an option? No. Gear crit rate is only an option on weapon. Because gear is... Your weapon is the only thing that has a base crit rate. 2 out of 3. Oh. Oh, come on. You're just toying with me now. So you can't use lacrimas until you get some Melissa blessing. You can use the lacrima with... Hold on, let me pause the video for a second. Okay, sorry. Had to answer a question there. Okay, so we're still looking for the same stuff. Be here a while. There's pain effect, beautiful. Critical rate. Ah, was that a good chance? Good chance wasted. Not wasted. It's not like we can do anything about it. Sharpness. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. In the end, the pain is going to be a better modifier for us to have. Now, I have not tested that. Just to be abundantly clear up front, this is the most, like, winging it piece I've done in a really long time. Normally, I sit down and do a damage test without the ring on at all, and then do a damage test with one single modifier to see if that one does more, and blah, 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 blah. But in this case, I decided I was just going to go for it because I have a pretty good idea of what's going to be. Also, I didn't point this out at mutually exclusive. Minion damage is also mutually exclusive with critical damage. So that's another one that I should have been paying attention to, but I wasn't. If you take the sharpness in the Zodiac and on gear, it would be better? No. And I just went through why that is. 100% of the sharpness, so I already have sharpness, okay? And if I got 100% sharpness on here, that would give me double the sharpness effect, which is 50% critical rate and 50% critical damage. 50% critical damage versus pain effect is not even close. Pain effect is going to do way more where I am with critical damage. I'm at like 1200 critical damage. I'm at nearly cap critical damage. So that 50% doesn't count for much, but the damage they will extra take from the pain effect is way more than getting that little bit of critical damage. What am I still doing? Paying attention. This game's so mean to me. Why are you so mean to me? Also, another mutually exclusive. I'm not myself. Chance to do maximized is mutually exclusive with critical. So your critical rate, any of the critical rates can't hit if you hit maximized chance. People ask, why not go for the double maximized chance? Because it's double maximized chance, not triple maximized chance. While double is not bad, generally, you're going to end up with your double max being very high and your triple being much lower, to the point where getting more double max isn't helpful. What's mine at right now? I think 57%. Gotta get rid of that. Oh, of course not. Pain again. Yay! sucks. Just terrible luck here. Oh, critical rate, beautiful. Critical damage, 2 out of 3. Oh! But it is critical rate still up, so we'll keep going. There's pain, that's best case scenario. Oh, pain's gone. Ideally, you want the 2 hard to get ones together. And you're trying to get the critical damage. Now, obviously, if you're going to go for it, you're going to go for it on all of them, because any of them could hit it. Oh, 2 out of 3. Oh, so close. So close. So now we need to get rid of that. Have a chance at getting the pain. No luck. No luck. Maximize. Just keep rolling. Damage, crit damage. Crit damage single we will coin, because the second one could be something we want. Away. I really wish they would introduce like a Master Crafter mode where those pop-ups would not pop up. I understand that there's a tier 14 modifier. I don't care. I have done this a little bit. I know that doesn't matter. Please go away. Just can't win here. Now again, doing these 3 mod suffixes when you're talking about low value things can be really difficult, can cost a lot of money, can cost a lot of resources, but if you want really strong gear, this is what you have to do. Or pay someone like me to do it. It's against terms of service, I'm just kidding. Don't actually try to do it. Although I guarantee you there's people out that are. Come on. We're having brutal luck here. I'm having just the worst luck here. Just the worst. I think it's because I'm sick. Games. Oh, it's his DNA is wrong or something. I'm supposed to get streamer luck, right? Isn't that how this works? I'm supposed to... The fucking conspiracy nuts that are like, oh, they give streamers better stuff so that people think the game's good and then they want to play it. Okay. Okay, sure, buddy. Oh, 2 out of 3. Oh, mind. Hideous. Hideous. I think the funny part here is, even if I get this, it's not something I can put it on right now, because I need to switch my Lacrima to make it worth it. Because this will be replacing a ring that'll only be an upgrade if I put it into the Lacrima. And I will have to use a holy reversion to do, and I'll be losing out on the black and star jewels that are already in the other one. Oh, pain. Oh. Can't win. Can't win. Admittedly, suffixes on rings have always been fairly hard to get good. Admittedly, not as hard as my chess piece, but that's also Crazy Town Banana Pants. I see spell critical rate like every third roll. This is hilarious. Why do you hate me so, game? Why do you hate me? In fact, critical rate? Oh! I'm a little excited. I should know better than to spell critical rate. Eat my dick so hard, game. Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Oh, attack critical. And pain. Oh, come on. We still have another hard step after this as well, because we've still got to do the crafting, and the crafting is going to be pretty awful. I have a decent amount stockpiled, but it might be one of those I have to pick it up another day, do some more farming. But in the end, if this lands, it will get my critical rate to where I want, and I will be able to remove the points in my Zodiac that are lowering the amount of the, oh, what is it called? The energy effect of cold energy, which nukes your crit rate. At least I think it's cold energy. Every time I see attack, it immediately gets hit. And like crafting and enchanting is, it's a lot of effort to get good stuff. And people always say like, how do I get this material fast? And you don't. That's not this game. If you want things fast, if you want things easy, don't play this game. That's my recommendation. This is a much slower paced game than a lot of other ARPGs in terms of progression. It's meant to be like, there's a reason that the seasons are 4 months long, and that the people that play typically shorter seasons, like if you play Diablo 4 or Path of Exile, you're used to 3-month seasons, and realistically, you're done in the first month and you're not playing anymore. This is a daunting task. I can't believe how much I'm going through here. Oh, 2 out of 3. Oh. 2 out of 3. Oh, God. That critical? Oh, come on. You're so mean to me, game. Pain effect. Critical rate. Come on. Just let me have it, please. For the sake of my sanity. I'm running out of gas here. Got tons of materials, but I didn't expect to make it 5 hours on stream tonight, guys. I really didn't. And of course, I will continue to do stuff in bed. I'm done here. It's just messing with me at this point. Enchanting Master. Gee, you think? It's just giving me the worst possible rolls constantly. Pain. Max block crit. I'm not sure how many more attempts I'm gonna do here before I just get back to trying to do stuff, because I'm really in rough shape. Come on, baby. Come on! Be cool. It's always heartbreaking when you get 2 out of 3. You get the 2 hard to get ones, and you try to remove the 3rd. You hit one of the 2. No matter how you do this, it's going to be a bit of a hike. My brain's starting to really bog over here. Might be a fight for another day. Which is fine. Sometimes the videos take me a couple of days. In the case of my chess piece, sometimes they take me 2 weeks. Every damn time. It's just killing me, kids. It's killing me. Okay, we're gonna do. If I hit under 1,000 of these, we're just gonna stop for tonight. Quite a few attempts, and we'll hit it. We will, but even if I get it right this minute, I can't make use of it. So it's not like it's a super high priority. Just nothing. Why are you so mean to me, game? I just want to be your friend. Be my friend, please. No, I don't want to be your friend. I want you to get hit by a car and die. Whoa, that's harsh. That's harsh, game. And one of the biggest problems comes to getting the suffixes on rings is there's so many mutually exclusive things, and the stuff you want has a low enough chance on its own that it's already a problem, which is why most people you will see that are like mid upper players will just use unique rings as opposed to trying to do something like this, because the amount of effort that you expend and resources doesn't really end up being more. Like, it's so much easier just to get a transcendent band of certainty and throw it on and move on with your life, which I have, but I feel like in the long run it's going to be a better ring. I will do testing between the two, and then I'll find out that this is garbage and I'll be sad. You know how it is. Spend a bunch of resources and work really hard, and it turns out you're just a stupid idiot. God damn. Can't win. Too many mutually exclusives. So many of the rolls are just immediately wasted. Spell crit. It's not worth me wasting my time to do that. Spell crit. Max chance. Pain. Yeah, some of the effects, people really overestimate what they do. So they spend a lot of effort trying to get things that aren't as good as they think. So, like, a good example is the extra skill rune level for your attack enhance on chest piece. I see a lot of people go with it. But if they had bothered to look at it at all, like, you only gain like 1 or 2% damage amp for that slot, which is not really worth it. Don't get me wrong, damage amp is important, obviously, but there's things, again, like sharpness is another good one. 55% sharpness is 25% sharp critical damage and critical rate, which is like nothing. And I see people that are new to the game that don't know any better try to do stuff like that. And I know because I've done stuff like that. Now, there's ones that do justify doing that. So, like, overpower effect. If you're a mage, overpower effect can be very strong when you stack the hell out of it, because mage's biggest issue is the penetration. That you have to spend a lot of resources to get your penetration nice and high, because otherwise you can't get through defenses. And especially now with the Abyss Gate, where your their resistances go through the roof, it's that much harder. An overpower effect is a ooh-woo. Oh, the penetration. I was like, why is he ooh-wooing? Oh yeah, penetration. How did I miss that one? I think I missed that one because I just don't feel good. That's the problem. This is unbelievable. I don't think I've spent so many resources and not normally, obviously this is going to take a long time, no matter how you look at it. But normally I get a lot more 2 out of 3 attempts, and I'm getting so few 2 out of 3 attempts this time. Even if it's the bad 2 out of 3, I'm getting so few. And it seems every time I get attack critical rate, I immediately remove it. Oh, 2 out of 3. And immediately. Of course I did. Of course I did. Spell critical blocks. Attack critical. pain. And critical gone. Critical back. Gold gone. Int. Oh, pain gone. It's messing with me, guys. It's absolutely messing with me. Four, 3, 2, 1. Okay, last one. Nope. Okay, so we're going to call that for there at the moment, only because, again, even if I get this right this minute, I can't make use of it until I get a Lacrima. So we're going to go back to working on the Lacrima and on getting the Lacrima, and we're going to come back to this when I get this. We're back to working on the ring. It's the next day. Nothing has changed. It's just it's the next day and I'm ready to work on it again. So we're still going to be aiming for the same 3 things. Attack, critical rate, sorry. Critical damage, and what? I don't even remember what the other one was. Inflict pain on enemy. Again, pain is going to be the same difficulty to get as the attack critical or critical. So we're going to be just trying more to get that. There's a lot of things that block what we want, so this blocks the thing. You already know this. I'm explaining this more for myself at this point. But here we go. Let's see if RNG is on our side. Do you believe in RNGesus or Lucifer? Sharpness effect. Don't fall for it. Sharpness and minion damage blocks the critical damage. Attack critical rate. That's one of the hard to get ones. That's good. It's gone immediately because, obviously. Minion damage. Attack critical. Stats. Stats is actually not terrible. It's debatable whether... I've taken that on rings many times in the past. Or just like a flat one like that. Critical rates. Minion damage. Critical rate's gone, so it doesn't matter. Wow. This is one of the worst things I've done for suffixes that isn't some like super complex thing. This is just basic suffixes. And it's taken me so many resources to get here, which is just hilarious. Oh, I guess they're not mutually exclusive. I was wrong. I thought critical damage and minion critical were mutually exclusive. I am incorrect. So yeah, every time I use a coin, it's a 1% chance, basically, that I'll hit one of the 2 I want. Now that definitely blocks the critical. And I think I already showed it, but the way to tell if something is mutually exclusive is try to put them onto the bar, and it will say they can't be overlapped, and it shows you all the stuff that it can't overlap. So, double max chance versus attack critical. And how do I know these things? From experimentation over the entire lifetime of the game. Spell critical. Critical damage. Now, this is actually really cool that I'm working on this ring, because today when I did Abyss Gate, I actually got an Abyss Stone 4 rings. So right now, both of my rings are boosted, and I'm getting the extra 2 flat critical rate from the Cast Source Refraction. So when I put this in, it's going to get boosted from that. So this will be even better than what I end up with, which is something that obviously we want. Getting Abyss Stones is a very not just getting like any Abyss Stone, getting good Abyss Stones can be really hard. You're really, unless you're doing the super high levels, you're maybe getting one a day if you're running all 10 attempts, and you might get nothing that you want, which is always such a bummer. I keep getting ones that are like close to something I would use. I think in the end, most people probably want weapon is going to be whatever your weapon is. And the problem with that is there's so many, and I've got probably 80% of the weapons, but not bowgun or bow, which is what I'm using. And because it boosts the stats, most of the stats, it doesn't boost all the stats. And the way to know what it does and doesn't boost is basically if it won't go in your Lacrima, it won't get boosted by a Zodiac Stone. Or not a Zodiac Stone, and Abyss Stone. Oh, 2 out of 3. Oh. Ah. That was hopeful. That was a hopeful one. Hold on. I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, we're back. Ignore me. I was checking something. Oh, come on. I'm so much looking forward to next season because I get to mess around with a mage, and I haven't done one in such a long time that it'll be really fun learning all the nuances of barrier. Oh, 2 or 3. Oh, never mind. This game hates me so much. Why do you hate me so much? I love you. Why do you hate me? Why can't we just be best friends? This is like our new cat. She'll let you pet her. She's rolling around, purring her face off. But man, you try to pick her up, she will shred you like newspaper. There's our pain effect. Oh, best chance. Oh, best chance again. Nope. Actually, not best chance. Second best chance. Best chance would be if I had the crit rate and the pain, and we were going for the crit damage. Because it has a significantly higher chance of hitting, but... And this is a good example, this piece of gear. Somebody asked earlier on stream if a enchanted and crafted piece is better than a transcendent. And it comes down to a ton of stuff. Whether you know what you're doing to get the most out of an enchanted and crafted piece, if you have the resources to do it. And in this case, because I'm getting the boosted stuff, I'm going to be getting the legendary and the ancient boosted as well. And that is what I think is going to make this better than just using something like the Band of Certainty, the Transcendent Band of Certainty. Now, that is, of course, provided that I'm not fighting a losing battle here and won't actually get the thing we are trying to get. Now, what we might do, depending on how long this takes. Pain effect is probably overall more important than the critical. So if we got enough rolls deep, and we had the critical damage, the pain effect, and like stats. We would consider taking that because after a while it's diminishing returns working on it. And stats really good. Plus 17, that's what, 50, I don't know how to do math. 51 extra total stats. Is that right? That sounds right. And if you're trying to get to 500, 500, 500 for stuff, this could be really helpful. If we got just straight strength or straight dex would also be okay. But we're not at that point yet. We got tons of resources still, so we're going to keep going. But that's something you got to keep in mind when you're doing pieces like this, is that sometimes going for the super optimal thing is just going to be too much of a hassle to do. Boom. Boom. Crit damage. Oh! In. Oh, there goes the pain. Bring the pain! I was about to start singing Bring the Pain by Mindless Self-Indulgence. Don't do that. Oh, don't do that. That is very much how you get your channel canceled. Their lyrics are a little spicy. Boog's laughing because she knows those guys. A little spicy. Don't get me wrong, they kick ass, but I'm not gonna be saying those lyrics. 2 out of 3. No. Can't win here. Can't win. Can't win, don't try. I swear, these last 2 videos, the chess piece in this one, I have had more odds in not my favor than ever. See, this is close, but if this was pain effect, I would probably just take this. But the attack critical rate in the long run is not going to be as important as the pain effect. Especially with once I get things in the lacrima and I do other things and I get my critical rate up even more, I'll suddenly be able to drop critical rate, so this won't be as important overall. But obviously we're gonna keep trying to get all 3. And even the critical damage, the only reason we want critical damage is because we're going to craft it into physical damage amp. The critical damage itself is not a particularly high roll. Depending on the piece of gear and the slot, sometimes critical damage can have really high rolls. Ring is definitely not one of them. Like, even at cap, critical damage is 37%. It's very little. So it on its own is not something we care about, but what it can be crafted into is important. Like, I was just talking to Devious, one of my viewers, about a piece of gear I was making for him, and he's, oh, I don't use totem. I'm like, no, totem isn't for totem. And that's one of the things you have to, like, you wouldn't know that. It's not explained anywhere in the game that totem is probably one of the best things. Oh, come on! Oh, you had to give me spell critical, didn't you? Didn't you? Yeah, totem effect is probably one of the more powerful things that you want on... sometimes it takes a while. Even like beyond the 15 minutes. for whatever reason. The trade system on here needs a whole bunch of work. Like, what they need, okay, and this would solve so many problems, is a locked trade that requires a password, okay? That would solve so many problems when it comes to trading. I still sell it on the auction house. They still take their cut. It still works for them to take rubies out of the economy, which is what that's there to stop it. Can you craft better than Leo's End? No. No, you cannot. Leo's End is incredibly powerful. But yes, that's my, I've talked about it before, my solution to straight up solving the issue of being able to trade directly between players, but still taking their cut of the market. Because that would let us trade safely without it getting sniped or anything. And it would let the market still take their percentage. And they wouldn't have to change anything other than adding a way to add a password to a purchase. Oh, pain effect. Come on. Yeah, like the shoulders and the chest I made for you are not good enough that someone would try to snipe them. I don't think. Unless they're literally just being an absolute dick and doing it on purpose. Which I'm sure that there are people out there that watch my channel that don't like me. That only watch to complain. Got Spalders? Maybe next season will be better. What do you mean, for quiver crafting? Or for the auction house? This is hilarious. I can't believe how much this has taken. Which is extra funny to me that it's taken as much as it has, because I used to make rings like this, like, way back, with way less resources. I've got, like, T33 versions of this same ring. For overall balancing, we can get during siege session. End of season, we get 35% done. What do you mean you get 35% done? Like, I've got everything done. Aside from the Abyss Gate max level. There's no other content that I haven't beaten. Oh, critical, come on. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. There's pain. There's crit damage. Okay. Do I want to ignore the critical and go for this? Because with strength isn't bad. I could keep going forever and not get what I want. And I don't really feel like doing it. So we're going to take this. Again, the strength is something that because hit points are important. That's what you're saying? You should complete a season? What's stopping you from completing it? There's nothing about the season that's stopping you from completing it. Not that this season is in any way harder or anything than any other season in terms of doing the content up to Abyss Gate. So we're going to take that. That's fine. We're going to take the strength. I don't mind. Again, the attack critical rate that we're gaining by getting that is not a huge deal to me because we're already at a very high critical rate in the first place, and I plan to make changes that are going to put me over cap in the future anyway. So we're going to take this. This is fine. Next step, we need to Vesper until we get the important stuff at certain values. And always check to make sure that things can go to the values that you are trying to get them at. Okay, so they can all go to 14. Obviously, the two that we're going to be crafting don't need to go to 14. Totem duration only needs to go to 13. We can't get more than that with crafting, so it doesn't matter. The critical damage, obviously, if it hits 14 is fine, but it doesn't need to. 13, even 12 is going to be fine. Strength doesn't matter to us at all. If it hits a low value, it hits a low value. The pain effect, we would like a 13 or a 14, and the damage amp, obviously, we would like to hit the 14. The projectile damage, 13 or 14 would be fine as well. So here we go, Vespers. And it's going to take me a couple of rolls here to realize what I'm trying to land. 14, 13, 14, 10, 10, 10, 10. No. Oh, that might be good enough. 12, 12. Yeah, the totem duration's a little lower than we want because we'd like it to go to 13. But we hit the 14 here, we hit the 14 there, we hit a 13, we hit a 12. That's good enough. Next step, we got a pineapple, which I forgot to do on my last piece, but luckily the rolls were actually pretty good. So we need to make sure that the stuff we care about, if there's something that we care about, are where we want. So this one, the damage amp is 5.9 out of 6. That's great. 95 out of 98, good. Strength doesn't matter. Critical damage doesn't matter as long as the thing's high. 44 out of 46, it's not a very high value in terms of the difference won't make it won't make much of a difference what the roll is. So that's actually good as it is. Next, we need to legendary, and we're probably going to end up doing legendary and reversion. And there's a bunch of stuff we could go for here. Ideally, I want hit point, just because it's such a high value roll for the prefix. If we hit physical damage, also totally acceptable. I would be very happy with it. Suffixes, stats, fine. Element resist is fine. Attack critical rate's fine. Really, unless we hit spell critical rate or mana regen, we'll be happy with the suffix. Probably going to take us a couple rolls either way. Yep. Barrier. Cast speed, of course. Attack speed, spell critical rate. Ooh, every time with this. Spell critical, of course. Stats. On its own is fine, but we really would like to land both of these because we know this is going to be in the slot that I'm currently using at Abyss Stone, so both of these are going to get modified by it, so it's worth it for me to try and do more. Barrier. Attack speed. Again, I am so far over the attack speed cap that I don't care. Attack speed again. cast speed, and last reversion currently. Element damage, of course, and just because I've got a million of them anyway. Hit point regen. Great, good stuff. So we're going to skip that step for right now, because this isn't going to get put on right now anyway. We don't need to worry about desperately doing this. We are going to make sure we put the correct authority implicit on here, which I believe is Spica? Yes, Spica with the flat physical damage. Wow, wow. That was like 7 fires in a row. Okay, sure. That's cool. Okay, I didn't want physical damage anyway. 15 to 45. Perfect roll. Good. Next step we can do is doing the crafting, because we want to craft the totem duration into skill rune effect and the critical damage into physical damage amplification. So I'm going to go get all the resources together that I've got for that, and we're going to get into that part. Okay, we've got all our stuff over here at crafting, and we're going to get into this. I don't know if I have enough resources to actually land this right now, but I do have stuff that I can farm if this doesn't work out. So what we like to do is check which is going to be the more likely to hit the thing that we want. In this case, it is a 12% chance that we're going to hit skill rune effect, and it is a 14% chance that we're going to hit physical damage amplification. So it's better to start with the one with the lower chance that you're going to hit it, because otherwise when you high craft, it's going to be that much harder to potentially hit the one you want. And since high crafting, when you're doing something, high craft like this, that matters which one you hit, you want to give yourself every little bit of a chance that you can, that you're going to get the thing you want. So we're going to start on here. We've only got about 50,000. I do have some selection boxes and stuff, but this is likely not going to be enough to get what we want unless we get really lucky here. So we're looking for skill rune effect, preferably at like tier 11 or 12. Cooldown recovery speed. If it was higher, the value, I would be inclined to consider it, but... So for Devious, this is why we want Totem. Any Totem's modifier can be crafted into skill rune effect, which is what we want. Wing. Well. 6. We were... I gotta tell what I think is a funny story. So I was making some basic gear for Devious while I was working on stuff, and I rolled a tier 1 skill rune effect on a thing. It was 2%. I couldn't believe it. There's an 11. Obviously, that's quite good, so we would like to take that, and we're going to go over in High Craft. And hopefully, High Craft hits critical damage and turns into the physical. Unlikely that it will, but here we go. It turned in projectile into melee. Obviously, that's not something we want. Reversion. Back to step 1. Now, again, when you're doing high craft on something like this, if you were someone who didn't have the resources, another reason I'm starting with the totem duration is because if I needed this piece of gear done, if this was a piece that I desperately needed on me, if I hit the skill rune effect at a 12, and ran out of resources, I could just put this ring on and use it in the time being because the critical damage is still something. But if I started with the critical damage and hit the physical damage amp, the totem duration is doing basically nothing for me unless I'm using a totem, which I'm not. Now, again, when you're doing these high craft, it can take hundreds of thousands of resources to get what you want if you're unlucky. So I always like to talk about alternate paths you can go if you don't have the resources, because these videos aren't necessarily intended to just be for the people that are in the upper echelons that have tons and tons of resources and have access to everything. They're intended to be educational for all players. Yes, obviously newer players are going to have a harder time understanding a lot of the stuff, but if I talk about the same things in every video, eventually that message will get to the people that need it. Keep getting those low skill rune effect. 11 or 12, baby. 11 or 12. Or 4. That's cool, too. This game is so mean to me. That's a 9. I might even take a 10. Had a brain fart there. I was just staring off into space. Can't win. Can't win. Can't win, don't try. Tier 12 duration being arguably the least important of the 3. For me, it goes skill effect, skill cooldown, skill duration. Wow. I cannot hit a decent skill rune effect to save my life here. This is what I'm talking about, where if you're a less active player or someone who just doesn't have the resources, these kinds of high craft situations can be really problematic, and that's why I try to do things like the critical damage, where if this was a ring I was going to wear and I hit this, I could just say, you know what, that's good enough for now. But this won't come into play until I get a new Lacrima anyway, so it's not an issue no matter what. This is hilarious. This is where people say, oh, the values they're skewed. They're not what they say. Oh, there we go. I think that's perfect. One off of perfect. Okay, here we go. It's gonna hit what we want. Just to be cool for stream. No, it is not. Trundle wouldn't like this. Why wouldn't he like this? That's a 10. We'll go with the 10. I'll take a SWAT. We're probably going to run out of resources here. We'll have to come back to it, which is, again, not a big deal. Oh, there's a 12. Oh, hit damage on pain effect, which sucks because that it's one of the, it lowers it by 50%, so I'm getting half as much pain effect. Definitely not a contender. Nine? You know what the heck? Now another one, and this is something that a lot of people are not, they don't really pay attention to, is traces of disintegration are surprisingly hard to get. So this can be a much more limiting factor when you're doing high craft stuff than some of the other resources which are easier to get. Now, obviously, you can do the alchemy table to make them and stuff, but just something to keep in mind as you work on different pieces. Okay, so that's the ring in its current form. We're gonna go get more reversions, we're gonna go get more crafting materials, and we're gonna come back to this thing. I'm not gonna bother putting jewels into this thing until the rest of it is done, or until I get my lacrima. But this is where the video pauses for the moment. You'll see me in different clothes when I come back. We're back. It's the next day. I got all of my maps and stuff out of the way, so we've got more stuff to work with. Another 76,000. We'll see if we can get what we want here. So again, skill rune effect at a high level, and then we're going to try to hit the physical amp from the critical damage. Or, alternatively, if we hit something else that I wasn't expecting, that gives me a decent amount of some kind of effect. So if I hit, like, strength, let's say. I haven't bothered to check, but if I hit strength and I got plus physical damage, that's not the worst thing in the world. Or if I hit critical damage or something, I might consider taking it. But obviously, that's not the goal. So we're just going to go through. And since I don't need this material for anything else, this is a really good time to go through this and use these. It's not like the armor stuff where I am crafting lots of pieces. This is pretty much the only, because my necklace, my belt, and my other ring are already locked in as uniques, so I won't be using this material on anything else. Oh, there's a 12. Beautiful. High craft. Projectile damage off of projectile damage. Not great, unfortunately. Projectile damage obviously isn't a bad thing, but comparing this to what we could get off of here, it's not even close. And we've got lots more attempts. We've got lots more materials, so we'll keep going. Once we get through these, we'll work on some other stuff. Because we still need to get lacrima. We still got a lot of other things we can work on to improve the build. I did a bunch. Since I ran all of the trace maps I had for this material last night, I ended up running a bunch of tier 11 maps and finished off all of the achievements for killing, I forget what the number is, but you have to get X number of kills. 22? Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, there's a There's 12 different achievements to kill each of the authority bosses. There's one for all the crafted maps and stuff too. Kill a certain amount, get a title. And I went through those last night. Finished all but 2, I think. And the 2 that I have left are, the one gives me like plus 10 mana, and the other one gives me something like, it's like poison resist or something that I don't necessarily care about. So I'm not worried about. But 3 of them gave me plus 25 hit points, so that's really nice. Because when you have a huge amount of percent-based health and hit point amplification, that's really nice to have. And of course, even if I get through all this and it doesn't give us what we want, it's not life or death. It is what it is. And of course, we've got other ways to get more of these materials still that we'll end up using if we don't get what we want here. I really wish we didn't have to click it's okay every time. They'll never change it, but it'd be really nice. Oh, there's a 10. We'll take it. Oh. Wow, never mind. That's so bad. That's such a kick. A little bit of crit rate at the cost of 6 damage amp. I'm really looking forward to getting the inhalers tomorrow, because the crackling, popping lungs are not great. Hey, there's a good one. That's max roll. Oh. Wouldn't that have been great, guys? Wouldn't that have been great? A perfect roll. And then hit the thing we want. I don't think we've actually hit the crit damage at all yet, unfortunately. Now, there are ways, and I've talked about this before, there are ways to help make this part easier. If this is the part that really annoys you. And generally what you'll do is, if you have, let's say, 2 prefixes that you're going to do craft and high craft on, you get your prefixes, Vesper them, and then do the craft this part, so that it has less targets. Downside of that is you can't Vesper the other stuff afterward. Now, I've seen, and I'm not sure exactly how they do it, you can... So, again, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to take a second in the middle of the video to explain this. So you could just hit it once and high craft, and hit it once and high craft, and hit it once and high craft, until it hits the thing you want. And then remove this prefix, and the other one will, the high craft will stay as the high craft, and then you could get this back and try to roll it again afterward. But again, that's another, it depends on how you're building the gear. That's not something you can typically do. Oh, wait, back. Oh, come on! Oh, element damage amp. Damn. So close. So close. Hit the right thing. We were off by 1 mod. That's just mean. That's mean, game. What are we going for? We're trying to get the critical damage to turn into physical damage amplification. Oh, there's a 9. We'll try it on. Nope, I'm a physical build. Where are we? Hey, we hit it. Yes. It's a low on the skill rune effect because we took a much lower one. But you know what? That's fine. I don't mind losing a little bit of skill rune effect. So there we've hit our thing. 6.5. So we've got 12.5 damage amp, 95 projectile, skill rune effect, some strength and pain effect. We are still going to be reversioning this to try and get better stuff, and then we'll worry about the ancients, and then eventually we'll get the jewels in this thing. So we're very happy overall. This is really solid, other than, again, the legendaries where we would like to hit better. Didn't I get a legendary version last night? I think I got it. Maybe we'll try this raid. I got 4 reversions last night. Okay, so we're just going to try this raid. Get it for the video. Cast speed, nope. Obviously not. Hit points. Ooh. If it hits any of the stuff we want. Stat, element resist, attack critical rate. We're in business. Element resist. Good enough. Now, the reason it doesn't matter too much is because the attack critical rate is something I've talked about in this video a bunch anyway. The attack critical rate is not something that we are life or death, that is super important. The downside here, obviously, is that the hit points is not a particularly high roll. That's nearly bottom of the barrel. But overall, it's great. So now we are going to ancient this thing. The ancients here, there are so many good ones. But this is one of those spots where I like to talk about always having a reversion available if you're going to ancient a piece like this, if it's one you're using anyway. Because there are a ton of good prefixes and suffixes, but there's a couple that are downsides. They're going to lower something that you want to get something that you don't care about. Or is this not? Am I thinking of something else? No, it's not. Never mind. I think it's necklace that does it. So what we want on here, so dex percent, strength percent, stat percent, any of those would be fine. Attack speed amp, we would not say no to. Again, we are significantly over the attack speed cap as it is, but if we took attack speed amplification, or if we got attack speed amplification, it wouldn't be a bad thing. We could take attack away from somewhere else. We could do some other moving around of things. Now, for suffixes, there's one we specifically want more than the others. Some of these aren't bad. Damage amp, if strength, dex, and int are 500 or above. I can get to 500 int if I had to, so this isn't bad. The one ideally that we really want. Oh, hold on. This is the one that no, I just don't listen to me. So what we really want more than anything, we want this right here, ancient suffix. Maximization chance, mana dampening. Up to 8% maximization chance, and it dampens our mana. We don't care. Our mana is inconsequential, effectively, in this build. But getting 8% maximized chance would be great here. I would not say no to attack critical damage at the cost of some hit point dampening. I don't want to give up hit points, but to get 130 or 100 critical damage would not be terrible. But this is ideally the one we really want to hit more than anything else. So we're going to be trying to hit that. So here we go. We got a few chances. I'm not sure how many reversions we have, but let's go for it. There's the attack critical damage. And plus 6% stats. Yeah, we're probably going to take that. We're probably going to take that. That's really good. Yeah, we're definitely going to take that. Again, it's not ideal because I'd rather not give up hit point amplification, especially with how Abyss Gate works. But this is I'm very happy with that overall. Yeah, I'm really happy with this across the board. Other than this skill effect not being high enough, this is a really solid piece. We're going to gain... Actually, you know what? We might not even lose necessarily that many hit points now that I look at it, because we're gaining hit points here, and we're gaining 6% stats and 17 strength there. Yeah, we might actually be in pretty good shape with that. Now, we'll put it on and we'll compare, because I'm going to be taking off this ring and putting it in my Lacrima soon. We're going to compare the stats with them, with the other on, the Dawn Stone, the Abyss Gate Stone. I don't know how to talk, basically. So, 14.8%. Skill rune effect, strength, hit points, 7.2% stats. Yeah, I wonder what I'm at hit point wise. 65,000 versus with this on 68,000. So I do lose some hit points still, but we haven't put the jewels in yet, so we're going to get more stuff out of that. Yeah, I'm very happy with this piece in general. Now I just got to get a Lacrima so that I can use it. But there you go. That's my ring enchant and the whole process I go through. That's probably going to... Oh, no, I was going to say this was probably going to be the last build video for the season, but I'm not. We still have bowguns. But there you go. There's my ring. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask. Until then, get out there, stay safe, pet cats, eat broccoli. You'll see me next time.